Ciao Tifosi and welcome to our channel, Italian Football Talk, where we cover everything to do with Italian football. We cover the news, the updates, previews, reviews, and everything that's going on in the world of Italian football, Calcio Italiano.
And today we are going to be covering Group A, which is, of course, the group for the Azzurri. We're going to be covering them throughout the entire tournament of Euro 2020, hopefully all the way to the final. But for now, we're just going to be covering the group stage. So first of all, we'll look at the squad itself for Italy, and then we'll talk about the chances that we think of. Will they win the group, finish runners-up, or will they have it easy or potentially even struggle? But for now, let's look at the squad. So we'll go through the goalkeepers first. Now, your goalkeepers for the Italian national team right now is Salvatore Sirigu, Gianluigi Donnarumma, and Alex Meret. Obviously, Donnarumma is your guy that's going to be your number one, despite having apparently the number 21 shirt. I don't know why. Maybe a personal reason, but he should be your guaranteed starter in the lineup as far as the goalkeeper position goes. Now, obviously, he's had a few issues on his club side because, as I'm sure everyone that's been following Italian football knows, it's incredibly likely, like 99% sure that he's not going to be a Milan player next season, and potentially he might even be in Paris for PSG. So, you got to wonder with the Turkey and Italy game kicking off just round the corner. Actually, it's going to be kicking off on Friday night, which is not far away at all. You have to wonder, will that affect his mentality going into that game, or will it just be another day at the office, as they say?
Yeah, I think just let's be a bit more accurate. 99.99%. He ain't going to be at Milan. I think a lot of talk, a lot of transfer rumors around where he's going. Initially, talk around Manchester up in England. Then they talk about Barcelona. Juventus were in it for Donnarumma. Apparently, by Milano, 99.999%. But come round to it, I think the only team that will look on the cards is PSG. Come and join Florenzi and Verratti, his fellow Italians on the national team. So, my biggest thing about him is, I know he's a professional and he's a young chap, but do you think, Graham, do you not think he would have that in the back of his mind, what's going on in his personal terms with regards to leaving Milan, his so-called boyhood club? Do you think that will affect the way he plays? I don't know. He drops the ball, lets a little stupid goal go in. Do we because he's lost, his mind somewhere else? I don't know. This is going to be a tricky one for him.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not Donnarumma's first major international tournament? I'm not sure. Was he at the Euro 2016?
No. This is his first major tournament. The last tournament, he was in his nappies. So
crazy,
he's going to be the number one keeper, and this is his first major tournament for Italy. He's played obviously for the qualifiers, etc. But I don't know. I think Sirigu's got a lot of experience under his belt. He's had a great season at Torino. Meret's been brilliant for Napoli, hence why the call-up. But yeah, I think Donnarumma, as you said, he'll be the number one pick. There won't be much change around the goalkeeping thing. I think the clear thing is that as long as he doesn't make silly mistakes, right? And then people easily blame, it's because of the transfer, it's because of his age and all this noise, this unnecessary noise. But listen, he's supposed to be the hire to Buffon, isn't he? He's supposed to be the next Gigi Buffon. So
he's got the same first name going for him, so pretty big boots to fill, but we'll see if he can manage to fill them or start filling them with this tournament. We're going to move on to the defence now. Now, I'm going to be looking at the previous game just in front of me right now, was against Czech Republic in a friendly build-up, a warm-up game for the Euros. Mancini started with a back four, the back four that he decided to go with, which I think you can expect this to be the starting lineup in defence anyway. You've got Florenzi out wide, you've got Spinazzola, he's the other full-back, and in the centre defence you've got Bonucci and Chiellini. That's just a partnership that's been, seems like forever, that's been a partnership at club and national level. So, what do you think about the defence?
Yeah, no, I was just saying about, you said the heart of defence. I don't think Chiellini will be as prominent as he was in past tournaments, right? I think in the qualifiers, Mancini preferred Azzurri, partnered up with Bonucci. We're quite solid in the centre bit. Look, compared to what we've heard in the past, Pedigree, Cannavaro, Nesta, of course, we don't have that level at this point in the tournament. But I think, you talked about, you touched on about the wing backs, whatever you want to call it, full backs, wing backs, whatever, the guys who run up and down the flanks, it's out wide. So you got Florenzi, Spinazzola, and Di Lorenzo. So you've got those guys. And don't forget Bastoni from Inter, who's had a fantastic season as well. So there are, and there's also Atalanta player Tolli as well. So he's had a great season. So actually, we've got some decent wing backs. Funny enough. To play out there. So I think the centre pairing will be key for stability, and I think Acerbi and Bonucci will be the two. And again, I think we need to think about the opponents, right? So who are we playing? Are they the type of players that play ball to feet, pacey, fast, off the ball, like Belgium, really quick? Germany, you've got a young squad. So do you play Chiellini, who's an aging warhorse? Chiellini is a very clever player, right? But would you put maybe someone a bit more agile than Chiellini there? So I don't know. It's a bit of a toss-up, really. But yeah.
I mean, from the mental side, Chiellini's 10 out of 10, but his legs just aren't quite there for him. We've seen that. Regular viewers of Juventus last season will have seen that. Like, he just seemed at times one step behind. But I mean, he did have quite a injury-prone season, shall we say? So, how fit exactly is he, and how up to scratch is he? So you might have a fair point about maybe Acerbi starting over him.
Yeah, I think he's more for morale boosting.
Yeah.
I think he's. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just like Roy Keane was to stay with Johnny Hedison. Well, why is he coming? He's injured. What does he have? Card tricks. I'm not saying Chiellini's there just for morale, but I think Chiellini's he's a great defender, as we know. But I think he's also there to boost up the defense morale-wise. Really G up the boys. And give the guys a bit of a kind of arm around the shoulder when things are going tough. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got all the motivation, and he's pretty sure this is going to be his final tournament for Italy. You would imagine so, anyway. So we'll see. We'll see how he goes. We'll see how he goes in the defence. Whether he's starting or on the bench, he's obviously going to have a presence. That's for sure. So we'll move on to the midfield now. Now, surprisingly, like the midfield actually looks solid. Like I would say, arguably, I think that's the best part of this team in the midfield, right in the centre. I mean, you've got Jorginho. He just won a Champions League with Chelsea. You got Pellegrini, another talented midfielder. Marco Verratti, he's playing for PSG. They went all the way to the semi-finals in the Champions League. So, I mean, that just tells everything you need to know about him. And Locatelli, who seems to be in demand for Juventus and pretty much everyone else in Serie A right now. And that just looks solid to me. And that's before even mentioning Barella for Inter Milan.
You forgot one player, Barella.
I just mentioned him.
Barella, to me, I think it's going to be his tournament. I genuinely think, even though he's not going to wear my favorite number 10 jersey because that's Insigne, but I think Barella, this will be his tournament. Inter have got a fantastic player in there. I mean, unfortunately for Inter, they've had Sensi, who got injured. Pessina's come to replace him. Sensi, again, a great quality player. I mean, rumors are that he injured himself when they did the unveiling at the Rai Uno's what's it called? Azzurro, Sogno Azzurro, which was quite funny. But no, I don't know what it is. But it's I agree with you. I think our midfield looks really solid, and it hasn't been like that for quite some time. From the days of De Rossi, Pirlo, Gattuso, Ambrosini. From those days, those heydays. I think Verratti would be the bulldog. Jorginho would be the guy, trying to do the one-touch passing, incisive ball. And then you've got Locatelli, who's had a phenomenal season at Sassuolo, and don't forget that you've got Cristante as well for Roma. So, it's and and I know we're going to touch about the forwards, but you've got other forwards who could play midfield, which we can touch on a bit later. But I think we've got a packed out midfield, which is great. We've got depth, which is key. Depth.
Yeah, you need depth in competitions like this. I mean, it's a month-long cup tournament. But I mean, I think as far as I'm aware, Mancini usually sets up Italy in a 4-3-3 formation. And I mean, we were just talking about the midfielders, and there's like that 5 standout names in the midfield. And if you're going to be playing 3 in that midfield, then you're spoiled for choice, really. Cristante as well, as you were mentioning. So, you've basically got a like-for-like switch with your starting 11 and whoever's on the bench as well, as far as our 3-man midfield's concerned. And of course, we'll look at the forward lineup now. Now, there's always been a lot of things said about this player that I'll be mentioning quite shortly. Club level, phenomenal for Lazio. I mean, he was the top goal scorer, I believe, 2 or 3 seasons ago. It doesn't feel that long ago, but he's always the main man for Lazio. He's always scoring goals for them. But whenever he puts on an Azzurri shirt, it just seems to be a completely different player. And of course, that player I'm talking about is Ciro Immobile, who you would expect to be the main man in the centre. And if it's not going to be Immobile, then potentially Belotti. But, when you look at the goals that they've been scoring, I mean, Immobile last season for Lazio, 25 goals. That's not too bad. That's pretty good, to be honest with you. Belotti, 13 goals for Torino, but that was a poor Torino side that at some point, you were potentially seeing them getting relegated. So, we're not, at least not, I say we, at least not too bad up front. But it's just a case of, can Immobile finally just replicate that domestic form of his club with the Azzurri? I mean, do you think he'll actually do it this time?
I don't know. It's interesting because Immobile's had a lot of stick on the national front, right? Like you said. I mean, he was capocannoniere the season before. Scoring the goals in for Lazio. It's going to be interesting if you're going to play Immobile, Belotti. I mean, would you? I don't know if Mancini will play Immobile, maybe Berardi on the right, and maybe you have Benedeschi on the left. Benedeschi, he's had a torrid time at Juventus. He hasn't. I mean, especially last season, he's had hardly any game time, and yet he's been called up to the national squad, and there's been a bit of a palaver around about Politano not making the squad because Benedeschi's there. But to be fair, Benedeschi, apart from San Marino game, which he got a bit too arrogant and a bit cocky, the fact is he does play well in the left out on wide up front for the national team. So I don't know how, I personally, I would love to have Chiesa. To me, Chiesa needs to play. And there's a lot of talk about, is it Berardi, is it Chiesa? Who are we going to play on the right wing? If I see Chiesa on the left wing, I'm absolutely going to go bananas because Chiesa should not be playing on the left bloody wing. I can see him playing Immobile, Chiesa, and obviously Benedeschi on the other side, or even I forgot Insigne. Gosh, we forgot about Insigne. Insigne as well has had a fantastic season. So Insigne, Immobile, Chiesa could swap it around with maybe Belotti, Berardi, and Benedeschi. That kind of stringent attack. And then don't forget about the young man from Sassuolo, Giacomo Raspadori. He's done pretty well this season. Yeah, he's the young gun. I think he's the wild card. I think he's the guy who's Raspadori, like you said, and why didn't he make the team? Your guess is as good as mine, I guess. So
it's a very strange one. It's a very strange one. I mean, when you look at he plays for Sassuolo. And obviously, like many people will be saying, unless you're an avid follower of Italian football and Serie A and, specifically Sassuolo, you'll be looking at this name and thinking, who's this guy? I mean, it somewhat reminds me of like years and years ago, we're going way back, 2006, when different national team, the England national team, then manager Sven-Göran Eriksson decided to take Theo Walcott, and everyone in England was like, Theo, what? Why? Who? Where? I don't even think he was at Arsenal at the time. And when you look at the stats for Raspadori, I mean, 6 goals all season for Sassuolo. I mean, that's not the goal scoring statistics that make you think, bring this guy onto the national team. So, but I mean, unless Mancini's seen something that I haven't specifically.
I don't know. I think maybe that's just a wild card. I won't be expecting to see him starting. I just won't see that happening. I mean, especially we're spoiled up front, with Belotti, proven players, strikers.
Yeah.
Immobile is immobile sometimes, but it's interesting to see how he play. I think he's probably going to come on the 80th minute relief, Belotti or Immobile. Like what you're saying at the beginning of this podcast, this review about. If we can make it all the way, which I'm positive we will make it all the way to the final, it's a lot of games in a short space of time. So players need resting, you need rotation. It's key, So we will. Okay, I'll see. I'm positive we'll see Raspadori play. And listen, I'll come back on you if he scores a goal.
No, I know you will. And hopefully Italy do make it all the way to the final. Otherwise, this is going to be short coverage on our part of the national team. But I mean,
final as well.
Exactly. So, while we're touching on that, we might as well just, go straight into it. Like predictions. How do you think Italy's going to do in the group? Just the group stage.
We're going to do absolute dog shit. We're not going to make it anyway. We're going to be kicked out, bosh out. No. I think we're going to win the group, and we'll touch upon the path later on. But I think we'll win the group. Our first game at 8:00 GMT UK time this Friday. Kick off with Turkey. It's going to be a tough game. I mean, Turkey would, Turkey took points off France in the qualification group. They're a solid unit. They've got some good players in their team. From the Italian Serie A, since we talk about, both of us are avid cultural fans. We look at the 2 cultural players there. You've got you got Hakan for Milan. He's had in and out of a season, all sorts of. He kind of started off well, and he kind of dipped and it went back up a bit. But and Demiral for Juve, let's be honest, didn't really did a showing, did he? So so it's going to be a tough game. I mean, I'll be having a kebab on Friday night.
What are you going to be having for the Switzerland game? A Toblerone?
Swiss cheese, a cheese fondue, and for the Welsh, I'll have a Welsh rarebit.
There you go.
For the global audience, Welsh rarebit is just basically a toast with cheese and a bit of Worcester sauce on.
And go out for a game of golf too.
Yeah. Why not?
But I mean, like when you look at it, I mean, it doesn't look like the toughest group on paper. I mean, Turkey, yeah, you touched on it. They're going to be a tough nut to crack. Switzerland, mixed bag, really, isn't it? Wales, I think they've got problems with their management. Who knows what's going on with that team? Gareth Bale, I mean, 1 minute the guy's apparently people are speculating he's going to retire. The next minute it's Mr. Superman for Wales. Which one are we going to see? But
he's going to be playing for the USPGA Tour next year. Didn't you know that? He's off to play for golf season.
I knew it. But I mean, like the one of the good things in Italy's side is all their games are going to be played at home in Italy. I believe is at the Rome Stadio Olimpico.
Yeah.
Home advantage, all games.
Exactly. I mean, there will be fans. I don't know how many. I don't know if there's a limitation. I know it's different from England to Wembley and to Italy. But, you touch upon Wales. They've got problems with Giggs. Giggs is not the coach because he's got off-field antics. What a surprise. And then you've got, obviously, Ramsey, who plays for Juventus in Serie A. Again, has had kind of an odd season, right? He hasn't had the best of seasons. And he's been injury-prone quite a lot. Bale, he's been on all sorts for Spurs. I mean, those are the two main threats, and I just can't see Wales. And Wales limped over the line in the qualification group. So if you look at the other team, Switzerland, the Swiss cheese boys, you've got Xhaka from Arsenal. Again, he's had an indifferent season at Arsenal, and got Shaqiri as well. Again, hasn't been prominent for Liverpool. So look, between you and Graeme, I think on paper, we should have 9 points on the paper. But this is Italy. Yeah. This is an international tournament. Italy is renowned for draw, loss, and a win on the last game to get through to the next group stage, right? So anything can happen, right? It's on the day. It's not like 38 games. It's 3 games in one group stage. So.
Well, I mean, Italy's already got rid of one stereotype where everyone seems to think they just play catenaccio and defend and park the bus. It's far from that with this team. So maybe they'll get rid of another stereotype of starting every competition slow, aka draws or defeat. That's a stereotype, but I mean, I cannot see that happening in this group.
No, and I think if you followed, I'm sure the guys watching this obviously followed Italy's path to get to the Euros. Even the last game against Czech, the friendly, it was 4 goals got banged in. It was fluid football. The team was cohesive. The passing was team goals. It wasn't an individual brilliance. It was actually various team members getting involved in the build-up of the play, going out wide, then going back into the middle. The play was orchestrated beautifully in the centre of the park. So, it is exactly what you're saying. It's not the typical Italy. I just hope, I don't know, I'm an old superstitious guy, and I just hope we don't, we don't stumble on the first game. If we get the three points of Turkey,
game on. Yeah. So basically what we're wanting for all Italians and fans of Italian football in general, a win against Turkey, which of course we'll be doing a preview for that before the game kicks off on Friday. The preview will most likely be up potentially the same day as this pretty much discussion that we're going to have. So, if that's already up, you can switch over to that and carry on with the preview for that match. But, before we finish up here and wrap this up, pretty sure we're in agreement. First place in the group for Italy?
Yeah. 100%.
Should definitely be first place. If Italy's struggling in this group, then I hate to say it, but I would not be hopeful for chances later on in the knockout stage. But again, I can't see that. I have to see qualification straight up for this. Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys, and until the next time, ciao for now.